I think I knew I want to be a writer when I was about 9 years old, and I had two best friends who also shared the same interests, reading, writing, drawing. So basically we just read the same books and created our own fantasy world and drew the characters and wrote stories that happened in that world. And also I joined a hobby group for teenagers for creative writing when I was about 13 years old. And that also helped me develop my voice as a writer when I was young. Well, I'm quite a visual writer, so that means that I usually see the happenings in my head, like pictures or scenes from a movie. And also I think that shows in my writing styles. So I like to use very colorful language and very visual language. I think I specialized in young adult basically because my first book was published so that I took part in a competition for young adult novels, and I was quite young also when I wrote the first draft. I was 18 years old, so of course it was quite natural for me to write about the things I knew about the people that were my age, and so that's how I became a young adult writer. I'm often asked about the diversity in my books and why I choose to have so diverse characters in my books. And I think that's because we live in a diverse world, and young people especially, their world is diverse by nature. So why wouldn't I have characters that have different sexualities and different ethnic backgrounds? I think that's just part of the world I'm describing. And I think it's really important for young readers to be able to find themselves in the books also. It's also about finding identity. Books can be your friend, they can be your guide, they can be someone you can talk to when you are growing up. And that's why it's really important to be able to identify yourself in the books. Once upon a time, there was a girl who was not afraid. The girl trusted as those trust for whom the earth has never given way, whom no one has ever betrayed. She hung upside down and trusted that she would not fall, or if she fell, someone would catch her before she hit the ground. Once upon a time, there was a girl who learned to fear. Fairy tales do not begin this way. Other, darker stories do. The Snow White trilogy, I got the first idea for the trilogy actually when I was in Germany at a bookstore. And when I was there, I had this vision of a book that would be called As Red as Blood. And I wanted to write a crime novel for young adult. I wanted it to have a young main character, but crimes that are like real crimes. And that's why I chose the character Lumikki Andersson for the main character, and also that was the first process of the book. With Lumikki Andersson it was quite weird because I felt like I didn't have to create a character. It was as if she came to me as a whole person. Even though she's purely fictional, she's not based on anyone I know and definitely not on myself, but it was like I knew her instantly, like she would have come to me on a street and said, "Hello, my name is Lumikki Andersson, would you like to do 3 books with me?" And I was like, okay, that sounds like a good deal, let's do that. Tampere plays a big role in the Snow White trilogy, and it has been lovely to see that also the city of Tampere has recognized that. Now we have a tram in Tampere, it's quite new, and also on the tram windows there are little quotes from books, and one of them is from the first book of the Snow White trilogy, from As Red as Blood. And it's quite amazing to think that people that are riding the tram here in Tampere will also be able to read a quote from my book. I started as a young adult writer about 20 years ago, and if I think about if it's different to write about teenagers now than it was 20 years ago, I would say yes and no, because of course the world has changed. but also we live in the same world. There is not a separate world for teenager and separate world for adults. We all live in the same world. But I think that there are things that are universal and same, regardless of if it's now or 20 years ago. When you fall in love for the first time, or when you experience great sorrow, or things like that, that doesn't change. Growing up, finding your identity, these are things that are the same also now than they were 20 years ago. I would advise people who want to be writers when they are older to write about something that they are passionate about, that they are really interested in, because in writing you have to be passionate about what you are writing about. So write about something that you are afraid of or excited about, or that makes you angry. And there's a saying that dance like nobody's watching, and I would say that write the first draft like nobody's going to read it. It has been a bit weird to be an international author all of a sudden, because I was first just a Finnish writer, writing for the Finnish audience for about 10 years of my career. And then the Snow White trilogy came, and now it's translated to over 50 languages. And it's amazing to be able to have the feedback from Brazil, from China, from Japan, and to have had the opportunity also to travel to these countries and visit the readers. It's quite amazing, and sometimes I still can't really believe that it has happened.